So as you guys know, Amy Klobuchar is somebody that is running for president in the Democratic primary as well, along with the other 20 or however many people there are there. She was in the last debate too, and she made a complete fool of herself, and she couldn't help but say a bunch of insane things, and that is definitely not surprising, considering the fact that she has ridiculous positions, and she's just a typical kind of corporate Democrat that nobody can stand, and she pretends to be like this super, exciting and not influential, but exciting and passionate person that has all the solutions to the problems. But in reality, she just pretty much says what she's against, and she's basically spent all of her time in the debates shitting on Medicare-For-All, shitting on student loan debt, getting rid of student loan debt. I mean, not just student loan debt, but getting rid of student loan debt, and any kind of progressive economic populist policy. She's just been completely against. That's all she's spent time doing on the debate stage. So, but I mean, as usual with candidates like this, they always manage to reach a new low, and that's basically what Amy Klobuchar decided to do when she completely shit on progressive ideas, but this time did it with GOP talking points. So check out this clip. It's about I think like a minute long or something, 45 seconds to a minute long here, and I think she's getting interviewed by a reporter or something, and she's answering a question about progressive ideas. So check this out. It's fucking astounding how arrogant this woman is. Check it out.
I just don't agree with these policies, and I also think that they know that they most likely won't go through because they don't make any sense when you really take down the veneer and get them off a bumper sticker and start looking at them, but they just keep promising it, and I just don't agree. I actually don't agree because I think it's not their best policy. They may be bold ideas, I think they're bad ideas, and there's a better way to do this.
So if they know it's not going to go through, then why promise them?
Because people like it. They like to hear that they're going to get everything free, right? They like it. That's how Andrew Yang started his speech at a debate. It was about giving people free $1,000. So, it is, and that was from his campaign directly. So that is a lot of what the discussion is right now. And I think people know that we've got to make the economy work better for them. And so to me, this isn't necessarily about a free college or a free degree. It's about how can you help people afford the education that they want on the path they want and have it fit with our economy.
What is she talking about? She's talking, first of all, she's portraying everybody as if, like, oh yeah, everybody just loves the free stuff. And look at how she says, like, the reporter asked her something along the lines of, like, why are people in favor of the policies? Like, she pretty much just admits it. She said, the reporter asked, why are people in favor of the policies that, your opponents are putting out there? She says, oh, because they like it. So you're admitting that the policies that Bernie Sanders, to some extent Elizabeth Warren, she said, mentioned Andrew Yang there, I don't know, throw in, who else? I don't know, I think that's it. I can't think of anybody else. But, all these, type of, non-establishment type politicians, I mean, Elizabeth Warren is, but I mean, she has some decent things on when it comes to economics, I guess. But, basically she's referring to those people that are putting out policies that people support. She acts as if that's like a negative, and then she talks about that whole free stuff thing. Like, she's using GOP talking points while pretending as if, like, yeah, it's totally terrible. It's such a bad thing to push for policies that people support, pushing for policies that people like. She said it. She said, oh yeah, they like them because they're getting free stuff. So at the same time, while admitting that people like these progressive populist policies, she's using GOP talking points you hear from the likes of Donald Trump. You hear that shit from Donald Trump all the time. You hear that shit from I don't know, Ted Cruz. You hear it from Marco Rubio. You hear it from, point out any Republican, any establishment right-wing Republican. They're going to say that kind of shit all the time. Free stuff, free stuff. All these, progressives and or whatever, Democrats, socialists, they just want free stuff. And they're going to be using that rhetoric against whoever the fuck the Democratic nominee is, which is why we should just get the real person in there, which is Bernie Sanders, instead of just putting some fake, faux populist, faux aggressive candidate. But, yeah, but she's like, this lady is so, I mean, look at what she's saying. She's so arrogant in the way she speaks and the way she frames her arguments. She says like, oh yeah, all these policies that these other candidates put out, they're popular because people like them. Okay, so you're admitting that. Okay, so you're just admitting that out, from the outset. But then you say, oh no, my policies are better because it's not about just giving somebody a free degree, which is not even true. Free education. It's like you got to go earn the fucking education. You got to go earn the degree. It's like you're being handed a fucking thing. You're like, as if I have my degree here and I just like got it handed to me. No, I had to work my ass off to get that. So yeah, she's just like making that part up. But anyway. So but she says, but like my ideas are totally, they're much better because we have to make these policies, make sure they work within the economy. So like we have to make sure these policies, like basically what she's saying is they have to work within the economy in the sense that they can't be too expensive. Is basically what she's saying. Like she doesn't, that she could have said that, but she didn't. But it's just, that's politician talk for, it's cost too much, so it needs to be costing less, which means basically the policy is shittier. She can't say, sure, she doesn't believe that but obviously because she doesn't want to spend too much money on the things that people actually want, she wants to spend on everything else. But she, she's just talks about how like, oh yeah, we need to be pushing for things that work within the economy. So just don't spend as much money, basically. And so, okay, so what is your solution then? So you're gonna what? You're gonna give, I think before she advocated for like a 2-year community college. I think she said 2-year AA degree basically. So like, free tuition for just 2 years of community college just to get your AA, and then you have to get fucking bankrupt going into like a university. Okay, wonderful. That's the worst idea I've ever heard, and it doesn't solve anything. Especially considering the fact that community college is not really that expensive. So unless you're there forever, but if you're only there for 2 years, it's barely going to cost anything. And then she talks about how, within that whole context of like making the economy, making the policies work within our economic, our economy and our economic system. It's like, okay, so like, what are your ideas though? All you're pushing, like if you listen to her during the debates, all she's pushing for is just like, oh yeah, I'm in favor of strengthening Obamacare. I'm in favor of doing things that help the American people, and then she never gets into the details of it. And like, so like when she talks about helping the American people, what are you going to do? Oh, I want to help Americans not get screwed over by big pharma, because she said she worked with Bernie Sanders actually on an amendment that helped people that were trying to get like prescription drugs. Okay, but so does that mean you agree with Bernie Sanders that we should have that we should import our insulin and various drugs that are too expensive, because they're price gouged in the United States? Because that's what Bernie Sanders did. He accompanied a woman whose son needed insulin to treat his incurable disease, and they couldn't purchase it in America because it was too expensive because the insulin was being price gouged. And then he went to Canada with this person who got the insulin at a tenth of a price or something. And so does that mean that Amy Klobuchar supports that? Because she's talking about how she wants to take on big pharma. That's what she said, because she worked with Bernie Sanders on that. So, I mean, she clearly doesn't give a shit. I mean, because she never gets into the details of talking about exactly what she pushes for, and everything that she does get into the details of are just shitty ideas. Just like when I said regarding the thing about, student loan debt and, wiping, or not necessarily wiping that, but like tuition-free college, essentially, so people don't get into student loan debt. She talks about, 2 years of community college. Like, you're not a good candidate. And by the way, she had an interview with Bill Maher. Bill Maher is like gushing over this person as if she's like the next coming of like the wonderful Democratic candidate that everybody wants. Nobody wants her, but Bill Maher is like fucking smitten over her, and it's pathetic. And he did an interview where she's like putting out all these like stupid ideas and making like stupid folksy jokes, pretending as if she's like totally popular and like everybody loves her and shit. And they're obviously, unfortunately, the majority of the audience that watches or that comes to Bill Maher's shows are honestly idiots, and they just cheer for any ridiculous corporate Democrat that'll say the same typical, talking points that you hear from every neoliberal Democrat out there. And yeah, so I mean, she was on there and she was just like making a complete fool of herself. So, I mean, listen, I can't wait until this woman drops out. I can't wait until Kamala Harris drops out. I mean, these candidates are such an embarrassment. And no, it's not because they're women. It's because they're terrible at what they say. And Klobuchar is definitely the worst of all of them. But this woman especially is so fucking arrogant in the way she likes to lecture people and tell people how she's not in favor of this and she's not in favor of that. Oh, but her policies are totally wonderful and everything she believes in is the greatest thing ever since sliced bread, and everything should be in favor of it because she knows better than you. And anything that you're pushing for that's far left, so-called far left policy that Bernie Sanders won and leads to free stuff, that's terrible. You can't have that because it doesn't work within our economy. Just get the fuck out of this fucking race, lady. You are not the real deal of anything. You're the real deal of the corporate interests that that are fucking funding your stupid ass campaign that has no chance of getting anywhere. You're polling at 1 or 2% and you think you're hot shit. Get the hell out of the fucking race and let the serious people be in the debates instead of, we might as well just be watching. We'd be better off watching a fucking empty podium without you standing there. That's how much of a fucking joke you are. So yeah, hopefully she drops out, as soon as possible because she's an embarrassment. And the less fucking politicians we can have like this, honestly, I hope she gets fucking primaried at some point. Get like a Justice Democrats or whatever, brand new Congress, our Revolution candidate to fucking primary her ass, because she's well within her period of time getting the fuck out of here. And watch, if she were to get voted out of her Senate seat, she would probably go and get a job as a lobbyist or some shit, because she's that fucking brazen and arrogant in her love of the corrupt system that we are currently suffering with. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully she doesn't make it for the next debate, because I can't stand watching her. I'd rather watch paint dry, but we'll see what happens. So ultimately, Amy Klobuchar is a waste of time listening to. She's unbearable to hear. It's like nails on a chalkboard. And the sooner she's gone, the sooner we are going to be getting smarter instead of dumber listening to her fucking bullshit.